I'm Joey.
I'm Jason.
And this is Metal
Monster
Review. Today we're going back to the 60s. And now it's been a long time since we've done a review on the King of the Monsters. So we are going to go back to 1962 and we are going to talk about the original King Kong vs. Godzilla. Now, this one's a little bit different than some of the other Godzilla movies you'll see. It's got a little far-fetchedness to it here, but it's still an entertaining monster movie. Now, Jason, where did you first see King Kong vs. Godzilla? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember going to Ames with my mom, and they had it in the VHS tapes, and I begged her to get it for me. That was my first experience with it, good old Ames.
I had a similar experience because I actually still have my VHS copy that I got as a kid. And I think mine came from Kmart. And actually just recently watched it on this format here. And it's the first time I've watched a VHS in quite some time. But yeah, I think mine came from Kmart. So that was my first experience with it.
And before we get into talking about the movie, I got a little history lesson for you.
I'm all ears. What do you got?
For all you guys too. This was the first colorized Godzilla movie, and King Kong for that matter too. Everything else, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and Godzilla Raids Again was black and white.
I never thought of that, but you are right, and that's a pretty cool little fact too.
Another cool little fact is originally America was developing a King Kong movie. But they wanted King Kong to verse a giant Frankenstein monster.
And I have heard that story because
one of the producers went behind the guy's back and gave the rights to Toho, and they scrapped the whole Frankenstein monster and threw Godzilla into it.
Because in this movie, Kong gets stronger by lightning, which would probably elaborate on the Frankenstein monster concept.
Yeah.
So now, we're going to get into the plot of this. Jason, would you like to give the plot of this movie?
Yeah, we start out, actually, we get like two little plots. First, we find out that icebergs are melting in
they're in the Arctic somewhere, yeah.
So they send a submarine to investigate it. And then a pharmaceutical company, for some reason, wants to boost their ratings. But I thought pharmaceutical dealt with medicine, so I don't know what TV comes into this. But anyway,
like I said, there's some far-fetchedness to this movie.
and then some other doctor says that he went to an island with these berries, and there's supposedly a giant monster there. So the owner wants to send them people to the island to bring back a monster to boost their TV ratings. Then we got the little submarine investigating melting ice. And that's where Godzilla happens to be, in that iceberg.
And there was a lot of radiation coming off this iceberg as well. So, but I like how we first see Godzilla coming from the iceberg there. You see all the radiation coming from the iceberg. And then when the submarine is, getting ready to abandon ship, basically, you see the flames coming through and you hear that infamous Godzilla roar. And, okay, cool, here we go. Here's Godzilla.
First off, though, I want to know how these people hit that iceberg. It was right in front of them.
Yeah, what the hell? I mean,
you can see it glowing.
I can understand. Hey, how did you hit that? I'm drunk.
And then you have the most calmest commander ever of a submarine.
Yeah,
you notice that? Like, we're all dying. Abandoned ship.
Yeah. Hey, Captain, or Admiral or whatever, water is flooding the engine room. That's unpleasant. Like, yeah, you're right. He was super fucking calm. Everybody should be in panic mode. I
noticed that rewatching it the other day. I'm like, this guy is really calm for something really bad happening right now.
What are you worked up about? You know what I mean? Who ruffled your feathers? You know what I mean? But no, that is a true point. That is something that, I kind of noticed that now that you mentioned it. I was like, that is true. So, but back to the movie here. Now, they wanted to investigate this here and see if there was a giant monster, you know what I mean? So they're on the island here and they stumble into these berries that they supposedly feed to the monster. I don't know if it's
an offering.
Yeah, some type of offering, and they sing to him, but it makes him sleepy. But he ends up protecting the village here, and what happens is there's a big fucking octopus. Like I said, it's a little far-fetched. Giant fucking octopus just shows up out of nowhere and attacks the village. And here comes Kong to kick its ass because it's going to take the berry juice. And that just pisses off Kong to no end. So this must be high dollar shit. You know what I mean?
It's high grade melatonin.
Yeah. So, anywho, there's a lot of stop motion and kind of like the green screen stuff behind it there with the giant octopus. But, you take this movie for what it is. It's just an entertaining monster movie.
That's one thing I got to say about this movie. Like, after this movie, some of the Godzilla movies, don't get me wrong, I love them all, but it takes a while to get some monster action.
Yeah, I agree with you.
This one here, it's pretty consistent. You don't get much boring stuff. Hell, within the first 5 minutes, you already see Godzilla destroying a little military base as soon as he breaks out of the iceberg.
Yeah, you are correct in that. So, Kong fights the big fucking octopus. Then they give him the berry juice. He gets groggy. They play him his little lullaby. And he goes to sleep. And they decide they're going to build a big raft and bring him back to Japan. As they're on their way to Japan, Kong wakes up. Hey, not in the best of moods, and they end up shooting this dynamite that was attached to the raft, and Kong survives. Meanwhile, Godzilla's hightailing it out to Japan and is destroying Japan yet again. So they have this good idea, and it's like, well, we don't want to utilize the atom bomb for the big sake of destruction. Let's bring another fucking monster for him to fight. And that's what an interesting concept here is, because it's like, you know what I mean? You had a problem with one monster destroying your city. Well, let's bring another one to combat him. You know what I mean? Which was a new concept, for the early Godzilla movies. So, and they get into some battles here. Now, in the beginning, when Kong is fighting Godzilla, it didn't work out well for him. He was kind of getting his ass kicked. And then as time went on here, they started to understand that electricity makes Kong stronger. He gets struck by lightning.
And I got to give this to Japan, though. They're the only country that can build electrical towers in less than a day.
Oh, yeah. Anytime there's a Godzilla has destroyed the city, it's rebuilt real quick. You know what I mean? Nobody's on a union smoke break here, fellas.
Godzilla will stray away from electricity. Next thing you know, they built like fucking 2 miles of electric towers. It's like, how'd you do that in 2 hours?
So they're bringing in the military to fight Godzilla. Obviously, this doesn't work. You know what I mean? And this is a formula throughout all other Godzilla movies. Let's keep trying it. Doesn't work. But hey, what the hell? The effort's there. So Kong and Godzilla end up getting into another fight, and this one's a little more evenly matched once Kong is struck by lightning, which elaborates on that, Frankenstein monster. So Kong gets struck by lightning. He's a bolt of fucking energy, literally. Now, do you want to talk a little bit about the fight scene?
Yes. One part of the scene I think is really goofy. Whenever Kong's actually doing good, then for some reason he starts doing like a little happy dance, but then he goes to fucking throw a rock at Godzilla and like goes with the rock and tumbles down and smashes his head. Like, what the hell was that? Why'd you do that for? You had the upper hand.
Too much berry juice.
Oh,
too much berry juice, right, you know what I mean?
They gave him berry juice to tie him to balloons to take him to fight Godzilla. So it still must have been lingering in his system.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he's still got to be a little groggy. I mean, hell, he was sound asleep and you want him to fight a fucking monster. You know what I mean? Cut the guy some slack, hook him up with some coffee, So it's a pretty cool little fight scene. So as you mentioned, with a lot of Godzilla movies, sometimes you have to wait to get to the fight scenes. This one tried to keep it rolling and keep the action going.
Even it wasn't. I mean, Kong and Godzilla only fight 2 times in this movie, but in between that, you get scenes with Kong, scenes with Godzilla. There's human action, but not like the later Godzilla movies where you don't see good monster fights till like the last 25 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. So here we go. I mean, this one I would say, hey, check it out. If you were into like the monster movie fighting here, you know what I mean, you're gonna get that for sure in this. But by all means,
it's the cheesiest at its finest to me.
Yeah,
it's enjoyable to watch. It's even funner you watch it with a couple friends.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anywho, anything else you would like to add about King Kong vs. Godzilla?
I still think this one here's better than the one that just came out a couple years ago.
That's a bold statement.
I think it's better.
That's a bold statement, but I dig it, man. I dig it.
Both of them, actually. We made the first King Kong versus Godzilla, and then Kong and Godzilla, New Empire. I still prefer this bad boy.
All right. Well, this one's definitely sentimental to you. Like I said, I've kept this VHS for years.
I mean, I think they have maybe 2 suits in this movie for Kong. One looks like total shit, especially the first encounter. But the other suit doesn't look that bad. It's just a cool movie, man. Every time I watch it, I pick up new little details.
It's one of those movies you notice something. And like I said, and it's been a lot of years since I've sat and watched this. And like I said, even when I sat down to watch this for this review, I popped in the old VHS tape, man. You know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, this is really nostalgic here. I'm kind of going back in time a little bit. And it's pretty cool. So, but it's definitely, check it out. If you're a Godzilla fan and haven't seen this one, well, hey, check it out. And be sure to check out Metal and Monster Reviews. I'm Joey.
I'm Jason.
And this is Metal
Monster
Review.